going to introduce Marcy Alt. She is a business activist who has been doing her thing for over 35 years in the business world, founder of the Gay Yellow Pages, founder of the Gayborhood, and she is a co-host on our own podcast, The Gayly Dose. So I will leave it with you, Marcy Alt.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Carson. I love being here. I actually love being on webinars. It's so different from, before, when anytime I did a convention or a keynote speech, I'm always in front of, hundreds of people that are looking right at me. So let me just tell you, it takes all the nerves off when the only person I see on my screen is either you, Carson, or maybe Gabrielle or Helmut. So yeah, it's kind of different. But before I get into me, and again, my name is Marcy Alt, I got a question to ask everybody. It's kind of a poll. It should be popping up for you. And I just want you to select one of the following. So just click on it, click on the poll if you're a lesbian, trans, gay, bisexual, or other. And this time other is straight people, I'm assuming. So if you could click on it and submit, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I am going to jump right in. We have a whole array of speakers lined up for you guys today. And I think it's kind of funny that I'm the first one, but you know what? I kind of like it. I like being first. So again, my name is Marcy Alt, and I'm super excited to be here today. I'm excited to share myself, my company, and some of the personal strides that I've gone through. So I'm an activist and a business leader. My favorite thing in the world that I am is I'm a single mom of 2 amazing children. I'm also a business partner in a couple of different businesses. As an activist in the late 1980s, I remember many days, many nights rallying in the streets of West Hollywood, fighting for human and equal rights. We took to those streets and we chanted simple phrases or slogans like, "We're here, we're queer, we're not shopping." There were hundreds of thousands of us that protested through the streets of Los Angeles. All we wanted simply was to secure our LGBTQ future. We fought hard. We fought hard for those rights that we now have today. I am so proud to be one of those many activists protesting that walked through those streets in Los Angeles. It actually was the catalyst that helped me mold my future in activism and business. So I started in business 35 years ago. I was 5. I couldn't believe it. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was discriminated against when I went to go buy a car. The man told me he wouldn't sell me this car because I was a lesbian. Now, that was the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And that day actually changed my life forever. And I became a stand that no other person in my community would ever feel that kind of discrimination or feel the hurt that I felt that day because simply I was a lesbian. So what did I do? What every good lesbian does. I went out and I opened the first gay community Yellow Pages. Now back then it was a hard copy book. And I know that many of you probably have never used the Yellow Pages because you were born into the technology as Google being your guide. But back then we used Yellow Pages. And that was kind of our way of finding businesses and services that we needed. Now the Gay Yellow Pages was a simple directory. It made our community feel safe and comfortable when shopping for goods and services. You see, back then discrimination, it ran rampant throughout the city of Atlanta and throughout our country. So this directory's success was important to many of us. We used it like a Bible when we were shopping for goods and services. Later on, we opened up markets all across the country. And along with my business partner, Thomas Ryan Lawrence, and you'll hear from him later, he's also a speaker, We helped our community nationwide. We helped people feel safe and comfortable when they were looking for a doctor or a lawyer or a plumber, or if they just wanted to go shopping. Now, this hard copy book was in existence for many, many years. And about 20 years ago, they invented this really cool thing. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this cool thing that they invented is called a smartphone. And when they invented that smartphone, I knew that print media, it was going to die. Had no choice but to die, because with this amazing technology that was now at people's fingertips, people wouldn't be using hard copy books anymore. So, as that good lesbian does, I launched a company called Gayborhood along with my business partner, and we became the nation's most comprehensive resource directory for the LGBT community. And it's now available on a smartphone as well as on our website. Now, that's a little bit about me and how I got to be here. As far as activism goes, I, was one of the first speakers at the March on Washington. I spoke about gay rights and about the right of the LGBT communities to adopt children. I have rallied in Los Angeles and New York, and I've rallied in Washington, D.C., and I've rallied right here in Atlanta. So, one of the things that always impresses me, as I always wonder, is how smart people are. Because honestly, when I found these facts, I didn't know some of them. So I'm anxious to see. And as Carson let you guys know, we do have a chat. So let's see some of our history. Let's see what people know. And more importantly, knowing what people know about this, I think what we should do is celebrate these victories. These victories need to be celebrated because this is what molded our community to be the way our community is now. Now, I was astonished at this. So the first published word, lesbian. And for those of you who don't know what a lesbian is, it's really simple. Women loving women. It was written in a book. And anybody have any idea what year it was written in and who the author was? Now, I'll be honest, I had no idea who it was, but I was astonished to find out when it was. Anybody know about what time frame, what year? Just type it in the chat for me. I'll take any guess. Well, I'm taking it that nobody wants to guess. So it was done in, Carson, no, way earlier than that, Carson. 1732. William King wrote a book called Toast. And it's the first time the word lesbian was published. Now, more of us should know this one. Who termed the word homosexual in what year? Like, it actually got termed by somebody. And that was in 1869, and it was by a Hungarian journalist, Carrie Marie. Now, we're going to jump forward, about 100 years. And now we're getting into some of the first acceptances or the first gay rights group. So the first gay rights group, that was actually formed in 1950 and was called the Mattachine Society. And those are the people that actually started fighting for our rights. So anybody have any idea what year the word gay took its rightful meaning? And now gay means same-sex relationships. And that happened in 1955. So another one that to me was like so wild, because before this date, and this date was in 1961. So I'm wondering if anybody knows. First of all, before I even tell you what it is, prior to 1961, it was illegal. That's right, illegal to be gay. So if you were gay and it was before 1961, you could go to jail or go to the crazy house or have your brains turned into mush. Anybody know the state? What is the name of the state we actually have somebody that I've noticed that's in this class right now that's from that state. Come on and guess it. It's not Georgia. It's actually Illinois. So Illinois is the first state that decriminalized homosexuality. Now, here's one that I know everybody knows. Everybody knows what happened in 1969 in New York, right? What was the name of that little bar that those drag queens stood up and said, I'm not standing this no more. I'm going to fight for who we are. Dr. Legg, I knew you'd be happy. Anybody know the name of that little bar? Come on, everybody. Anybody that's gay should be typing in that chat right now. I want to see the name of the bar. What was it? That's right, Gabrielle, Stonewall. Stonewall Uprising was in 1969. And this is why Gay Pride across the country in June is here. So we actually, it's a huge party now, but really what the whole purpose is was that we actually stood up for ourselves and we, said no more. And then here's another one of these that's very exciting for me is PFLAG. PFLAG happened in 1973. And then in 1978, I can't believe now that we've gone from like 1700 to 1978, right? 1978 is the first year. This is crazy to me that it was in 1978. It was the first year that we had an openly gay politician. He's a very famous politician on San Francisco, who was later killed by his predecessor, Dan White. Who is that politician? And if you don't know the answer to this, you guys need to do your research on LGBTQ history. That man was Harvey Milk, and he was the first openly gay city supervisor. Now, here's one that I know everybody knows, but who coined it? Who's the president that coined "Don't ask, don't tell"? He also put a whole new meaning to sex, or what sex is. That would be Bill Clinton. And in 2013, Windsor versus the United States, because of Edith, it was awesome to know that we actually have federal benefits now are afforded to legally, they're afforded to same-sex marriages. Gay marriage passed in 2015, and this one I still am confused about. 2017, it's ludicrous to me. 2017 is when transgenders were allowed to be in the military. And then in 2018, that wonderful man, I say that, Donald Trump banned it in 2018. So my question is if transgender people went into the military in 2017 and they signed up for 4 years, did they kick them out? I don't know the question to that, but I can tell you this. I will look it up and get back to you before the end of the next 2 days and let you know if they got kicked out. Now, these victories we should be celebrating. And there are so many more, but I just didn't want to go through all of them. We should celebrate these victories because these pioneers, if it wasn't for these pioneers, we wouldn't be who we are today. We couldn't stand up for what we stand up for today. We couldn't walk freely like we walk today if it wasn't for people like these pioneers that made it possible for us to have these rights. If you could make a holiday out of any of these these victories, I wonder what holiday some of you would pick. For me, I would pick, we already have, Stonewall and Gay Pride, but for me, I think I would pick the one in the 1700s because I do identify as a lesbian, and I am so happy that somebody actually, wrote about it in the 1700s. But think about it yourself. Think about what holiday you would pick, and don't stop celebrating those victories. Now, because it really is important that we keep this LGBTQ history alive. Because if we don't keep it alive, nobody will. You know, you got to remember, you got to stand up, speak out, and shout out. Because if you don't, who will? So I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about me. You're going to see me throughout the next 2 days. And I hope you've enjoyed learning about some of our history.